Unless you've been living under a rock since the year 2009, I guarantee you've heard of the Monogatari series. Heard of maybe stretching it a bit, let's just say internet culture has spread the anime a tad, so you've probably seen it in passing. If I had to pinpoint what the show is most known for, I'd have to say Renai circulation. But if I had to pinpoint what the show is second most known for, I would have to say Platinum Disco. Alright, fine, you got me. The openings are bangers, but that's not what we're here for today. Ignoring the bizarre watch order and incomprehensible allegories, there is much to love about Nisioisin's most influential work. Not only is the show super well directed, voice acted, and animated, it has had a monumental impact on the growing anime culture of today. Interesting and eye-opening clips have been spread far and wide on the internet since the initial release of the show back in 2009. However, there is one scene in particular that stands above the rest. If you clicked on this video reading the title, you probably already know where I'm going with this. There is a particular scene in the second season of the show, Nisemonogatari, that doesn't quite fit with what the show had previously offered. The internet has come to adore this scene, sparking discussion and joy over the intimate relationship of two siblings. Dare I even say that this scene outshines the rest of the show in its creative and stylistic atmosphere. I'm talking, of course, about the toothbrush scene. Hello all chronological watchers and part skippers, my name is Nyaanachi, and you may not like it, but this is what peak Monogatari looks like. The toothbrush scene is but a small fragment of an otherwise unassuming episode, but I would be doing a disservice to you guys if I didn't cover the whole episode, because although it's described as a scene, the episode is important context to the lead up of said scene, so let's recap a bit. We start with a casual Araragi studying in his room when his older sister practically kicks down his door to interrupt him. Starving for attention, Karen eventually gets him to turn away from his important preoccupation, only for him to be mortified by the sight of her. His young, athletic, tomboy sister was wearing a skirt for what feels like the first time in her life. Shocked and at a loss for words, Koyomi scours his thoughts for any idea as to what happened to his sister. Suggesting that Karen had been bullied was only a natural train of thought for Koyomi, but she denies this accusation. Karen then demands feedback on her outfit from Koyomi, who reluctantly tells her she looks cute even though he doesn't believe so. Enthusiastically, Karen jumps in for a bear hug and clings to her dear older brother like she's stuck there with Gorilla Glue. Even with how repulsed Araragi is that his sister wants to act better towards her older brother, he can't manage to shake her off. That is until he mentions that she's acting strikingly similar to his junior Kanbaru. Upon hearing the name, Karen steps back and begs to Koyomi for a chance to engage with his underclassmen. However, Koyomi is reluctant to let her do so. Since he knows how lewd Kanbaru can be, Koyomi devises a plan to give Karen a little dose of what she's in for if she were to meet Tsuruga Kanbaru. After a bit of banter between the two, Koyomi finally agrees to settle it over a game. With warning from her older brother that the game is swung in his favor, Karen accepts. Koyomi then leaves the room and returns a few moments later with a toothbrush and toothpaste in hand. And thus, the shenanigans begin. Koyomi suggests that people who go to the hair salon have someone cut their hair, and it isn't weird to have someone else touching that portion of your body because you wouldn't cut your own hair. However, if someone were to do something to you that you normally do to yourself, it brings out psychological resistance. Therefore, if her brother were to brush Karen's teeth for her, she wouldn't be able to handle it. If she can withstand the psychological resistance for 5 minutes, she wins. The scene that ensues following this setup is simply breathtaking. As Koyomi sticks the toothbrush into Karen's mouth, she squirms all over, unable to stay comfortable. Classical music nonchalantly plays in the background as a devious Koyomi Araragi tortures his poor little sister. Detailed close-ups of the mouth and face bring enough tension to the scene that you could cut it with a butter knife. Koyomi then starts to try harder as he pushes Karen to her limits. However, Karen's behavior and responses begin to make Araragi feel weird. As the timer ticks up, he can't help but realize how cute his sister is, claiming that she may be the cutest girl in the world. The scene continues to grow more and more and more intense as Koyomi gets on top of Karen and leans in to grab her chest. But just before Araragi is able to snatch the forbidden fruit, he is stopped by his younger sister, Tsukihi, who is not pleased by the sight she sees. Both Karen and Koyomi are equally surprised by how far the situation has escalated, and although no sexual actions had took place, it certainly feels like they did. Such a scandalous act cannot go without punishment, so Tsukihi runs out to grab an awl for whatever punishment lies ahead for Karen and Koyomi. Koyomi admits defeat, as it has been longer than 5 minutes, and the episode ends with them going right back at it, playing best 2 out of 3. The toothbrush scene is something special. In fact, the whole rest of the show kinda sits in the shadow of this one episode, as it's probably the peak of the series' storytelling. I can't think of a better scene than this one to exemplify the growth of a bond between two siblings. At the beginning of the episode, and even at the beginning of the series, Araragi is reluctant to engage with his sisters. He isn't interested in what they do or who they are until he gets roped into helping Karen when she gets hurt by Kaiki. And even though the Karen B section of the show concludes Karen's part of the story, Araragi hasn't changed much in the way he sees his sisters. He doesn't even seem to like them much at all. It isn't that he doesn't want to believe that Karen is cute when she puts on a skirt. Koyomi just can't bring himself to say anything because he doesn't feel much towards her at all. They're siblings, sure, but when it comes down to it, Koyomi is a stranger to both of his sisters. Contrast that with the stellar bond that Karen and Tsukihi have as the Fire Sisters, and you can see how Koyomi's relationship with them is incredibly closed off. Through the awkward sensual embrace that is the toothbrush scene, Koyomi learns to see Karen for who she truly is. He no longer sees her as an annoying little sister that fights for fake justice. He sees her as her own person with her own goals and interests. His little sister can be cute if she wants to, she can fight for what she wants to, and she can be there for him if she wants to. An intimate embrace designed to push boundaries and create an awkward situation was the only way for these two siblings to grow. From the squirming and moaning, to the intense brushing and drool oozing, and even all the way down to the heavy breathing and flustered speaking, this scene is the absolute worst way to portray this sort of growth. Cut the music. I'm not doing this godforsaken bit. I can't take it anymore. I thought this video was gonna be so funny, but it was such a chore to write. The episode is entertaining, but rewatching this scene over and over again only to understand a glimpse of Nisioisin's vision just isn't worth it. Look, I stand by what I said, alright? I get the point of this scene and the great character growth that was portrayed by it, but my god, did it have to go this far? Outsiders looking for info on the Monogatari series see this and get only one impression of what the show is like. Is this really how we want the show represented? Why? Why do we keep pushing this scene as far as we can, holding it up like some sort of sad middle schooler's participation trophy? Why? Why? Just why? Oh yeah. Because it's funny. You see, I wanted this to be all fun and games, but at this point I feel like my head is going to implode from spending another pint of thinking juice on this scene for one more picosecond. There's so much obvious evidence and dialogue to show that Koyomi has no desires at all towards his sisters. Yet this one scene ruins all of that, and places us Monogatari fans far below even the scummiest of crispy-sucked degenerates when we even so much as try to defend this horrid scene. So I'm not doing it. You had your fun, you had your little laugh, your half-hearted chuckle, and your dankest giggle, but I'm done. This video was a waste of time. Happy April Fools, you degenerate fuck. Fucking can't. It's so dumb.